whether he was doing it.
Maybe it's programmed. MK Ultra.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. Listen.
One thing that people go on about is HAARP, right? HAARP. I don't know if there's two P's, right? And it's that thing they have in Alaska, which is this massive
kilometer-wide fucking ionosphere.
Yeah, it's like all these fucking towers that beam waves into the air, right? And they can. This is. I saw the Jesse Ventura conspiracy thing where he went there. Did you see that?
Yes.
And the guy demonstrate how you can send sonic sounds like without amplification or anything. You can just send it through the mind. He's like, holy fuck, I can hear that. Crazy stuff, because there are conspiracy theorists that say, there's the term again, but the whole HAARP thing is basically, it's so powerful that it can create weather systems, it can create earthquakes, it can
do lots
theoretically, it can do all these things, and theoretically that's why it's built, and China and Russia are both building them, right? So it's definitely something very covert and potentially extremely powerful.
And it wasn't long before they built that, or shortly after they built it, I'm not sure, but they've signed all these international treaties that they said they won't manipulate the weather and they won't manipulate,
Yeah, there's of course
for warfare where
the Japanese, right? Apparently they didn't get on board with some of the Bilderberg's ideas. That's what some of the conspiracies that are out there, and that Japan was punished by the earthquake that hit and created the enormous tidal wave that caused 30,000 people to die.
That's sick. Don't tell me stuff like that.
Fukushima, like, of course, which is infinitely worse.
Fuck you. Fucking have you erased
Yeah, and that's the kind of shit that, hey, how the fuck is anyone gonna prove that shit? And then how is anybody on the other side gonna just say that's just a bunch of hogwash? Because we know when we see it in experiments, when we see smaller experiments, we see it's totally possible what they're doing. So if you times that by the nth degree and you had this huge, as you said, kilometer-long fucking field of towers, that sends these electromagnetic signals out into the atmosphere, what the fuck are they doing with it? Yeah. And who knows, right? So what are we going to say about that? We can't say anything about that because
we don't know what it does. It's all top secret.
It's all top secret.
Which is kind of creepy too. Right?
It's really...
What do you mean you built a kilometer-wide tower thing that fucking shoots things into the atmosphere and you're not telling anybody what it does?
Well, they do that all the time. They've got a million things like that. There's all these forms of energy beams that they've created. It's completely laser beams, things like that we don't hear about. We won't because it's top secret, it's classified. You can't handle the truth.
Really, these people all need to be muzzled and fucking taken down a peg.
But there is...
It's unstoppable.
If you get into their sick position, right, and their sick position would be up in the echelons of power, whether it's the Pentagon, right, the chiefs of staff, or the fucking president, or any of these guys, or the major corporation players, is that they still have major enemies out there in the world that they have to beat somehow, right? So there is no doubt inherently in the status of being a superpower, an unfortunate side effect is that you have to have all this covert shit going on, because otherwise you might be undone by all this covert shit. When we talked about MK Ultra and what they were doing, all these mind studies, all these crazy sick things that they were doing on soldiers, a lot of it was to see how they could condition their own soldiers to withstand the enemy's mental attacks that they would use. Whether it be just interrogation or whether it be.
I think those are the videos that are leaked to us. I think those are the information.
Well, we know from the court case that came from the church here in Montreal at the Allen Institute. We know this shit. We see it. I mean, we've got, like, here in Canada, we got a dark history. What we did to the Inuits, especially during the World Wars and shit like that.
Yeah, what we're still
there's dark shit that comes out. And you know what? Until it comes out, everybody's like, I don't talk about this shit. That's bullshit or whatever. Or it's not even known. And then eventually it gets leaked.
Yeah, it comes out when those people that are responsible are long gone. Right?
Right.
When it doesn't really matter anymore.
Right. And like... We just pointed to how, like, one of the major things in Europe, the whole thing that's going on in Europe, the euro, right, which has been a complete disaster, right, overall. Now, Do they set it up this way? Is it just a horrible plan that went terribly wrong? Is it because they want to bankrupt these states like Greece and Italy and Ireland and Iceland and all of them? All this shit. But then we learn with a fact, with fucking documents that were leaked from the Bilderberg meetings in the 60s, 70s, right? That they actually fucking set up this whole thing. The whole European Parliament, the whole Euro. Hey, guess what? It's the big corporations, the kings and queens, the pawn fucking movers.
They got the control over everything.
Right?
They have their money
and it's all done in secret.
Everything.
And then, guess what? Hey,
I was reading the Queen Elizabeth, 30% of her money is in nuclear.
Wow. It's crazy.
Queen Elizabeth, 30% of her money is invested in
nuclear.
So now we know why it's so goddamn popular.
What they do.
No, now we know why it's so goddamn popular. Because she is so goddamn popular.
Well, that's what it is. The whole thing that they learned from the Nazi scientists was how to use something like television, right? How to use it. This is where the marketers come in. The marketers are sick in their way of saying, like we said before, the fat person who's obligatory in every commercial now. Before it was the Asian, then it was the black, and then, they're all evolving towards this way to say, hey, guess what? It's okay to be a fucking idiot that only likes fucking NASCAR and football.
The weirder you are, the better chance you have of making it, buddy. You know?
It's true.
Yeah,
well,
it's true. No, if you're fucking off the wall, if you're fucking completely out there, if you're completely... Now, apparently, if you're hideously obese, if you're completely eccentrically gay, if you're completely this, completely that, if you're a black woman, we'll put you on TV. If you're, whatever, if you're a gay lesbian
I think
woman,
it's just,
you get a show. If either way, they can't wait to give everybody a show, right?
Right.
So that everybody feels represented, so that nobody feels left out in this chaotic jumble they've created, so that they don't have these people feeling, oh, we're excluded from your little party of fucking caviar and fucking yacht parties or whatever.
That's where I said, like with the whole thing with Christopher Nolan, putting Sandy Hook and pointing a finger at it, having it literally.
That's so dark.
It's so weird.
That is so dark.
There's no way that's it's just like when we said The Simpsons there, where they had that episode where Bart is.
The $9.
The $9 and the Twin Towers right there.
Exactly.
There are some people out there within Hollywood, right, that know of shit going on and are sending little signals, because that's the only way I see it. I don't see it in the sense that they're laughing at us or they're just throwing it in their faces, because how could they be so stupid?
Yeah.
If they put that shit out just as a joke, if they just throw it in, haha. Thinking, yeah, it's fun, let's see if we can get away with it. They're not going to get away with anything like that today, with, like, the internet, with YouTube,
and the scrutiny,
with computers that can just zoom in and fucking freeze frame and all that. They're not going to get away with that shit. So, a guy like Christopher Nolan, to me, a power player in Hollywood, is in the know. And he is perhaps sending us a signal saying, look, this needs to be looked at. Look at this. Look at this, because there's something not right about it.
Isn't it so weird that Sandy Hook is there?
It's so weird.
It's so creepy.
It's so weird.
It's creepy.
So weird. And apparently,
it's dark.
Apparently,
dark and
Neo from the Matrix, his card that he had an expiration date of 9/11, and of course, the Matrix, the whole thing is about a complete world that is completely controlled by another power and has no clue of it, right? A metaphor for us being controlled by the elites that are behind the scenes, the Wizards of Oz, who manipulate us through History Channel and all those programs, that continually feed us. Wolf Blitzer, Katie Couric, whatever the fuck it is, Anderson Cooper, Bill O'Reilly.
They have 100%. They've been wanting to take their guns, and they've made this a priority.
Right. They made it a priority. It's part of the long-range plan. Alex Jones going crazy about this. How long have I been telling you? He says. How long have I been telling you they've been trying to steal your guns? I've been telling you this for years. This is the whole plan. You're seeing it happen.
Yeah.
You know what?
You're watching it live. Yeah.
I hate to agree with Alex Jones, because I think a lot of his shit is just reaching. A lot of it's just you know, sensationalism. It's like, well, you see this? We saw some containers. They must be coffins, and they're doing this and that. I mean, come on. Maybe that's true, but you have to do all of the research into it and prove it. Otherwise, it's just speculation. And, you know, that's where I have a problem with Alex Jones. But then again, man, what the hell's going on? We see with Sandy Hook, we see how the
but
media...
you know that the alternative to Alex Jones is if you don't agree with him, that means you're always giving your benefit of the doubt to the other guy that's telling you the other skew of the story, right?
Yeah.
They both have their points of view. I would assume somewhere in the middle is probably the ground.
Well, you know, Joe Rogan himself, who we like Joe Rogan a lot.
He loves Alex Jones.
He said Alex Jones is a friend of mine. He said Alex Jones believes what he's doing. He believes, you know, he truly believes that there is this conspiracy. And Joe has gone on about 9/11. Like, I'm not a scientist or I'm not an architect, but, you know, come on, Building 7 doesn't make any sense. Hey, it doesn't make sense to the architects, 2,500 or 1,500 or whatever. Don't make sense to them either, right?
When they talk about gravity, free fall, and they talk about complete annihilation and buildings that can fall in 8 seconds that should never have fallen.
The whole fucking thing. The explosions in the lobbies.
No, it's insane that building just collapsed on itself in 8 seconds.
All those buildings collapsed by themselves. Yeah. As we know,
in 8 seconds.
1,500 degrees, I believe it's 1,500 degrees Celsius, where, is it Celsius or Fahrenheit?
27 or 29.
No, but 27 is perhaps where steel melts. But 1,500 is the point where jet fuel burns, right? So how does it get warmer than that? Explain the science. Get the scientists on. Tell me
but even if the thing heated up so much that it was going to bend, right?
Because what's hotter than jet fuel?
Yeah, but the thing that was going to bend,
right?
the thing at the bottom is not heated up.
Why is there explosions on the bottom?
Still.
Why is there
exactly?
You know?
That's strong still. Why wouldn't it have tipped over? Why wouldn't it have collapsed on itself?
There's stories. I saw videos. There's stories of people in the main floors, the lobby areas of the fucking World Trade Center, being fucking thrown back by explosions that are explosions in the fucking basement.
Yeah.
Right? Like 10 floors down or whatever. Massive fucking buildings.
So dark.
Right? That doesn't happen when a plane hits 70
Are
floors
they
above.
out to convince us? Are they out to trick us all into something? Is there a master plan?
Hey, Bilderbergs, what does that tell you? I mean, they all get together. They get together in secret. They don't want anybody to know about. They don't have anybody reporting. In fact, all the major media is there.
These people are also aware everything's melting. Planet's sick.
Exactly. And yet they're doing everything
changing.
They should to speed up the process.
So that can only led me to believe now that they buried all the seeds, taking pieces of the coral reef, made
they
sure
got a
they're
plan
safe.
to fucking create a massive annihilation of people.
That's their plan. They're going to
bunkers.
allow it. They're going to allow it, and then they'll just restart and repopulate. And they know throughout history that humanity's always gone up and down as far as numbers.
Yeah.
And that's part of their plan.
The sick thing is that
that's disgusting. Even the fact that we're at that point where we're even imagining that's their plan,
right? When we look at we talked the other day about Stanley Kubrick, right?
Yeah.
And the Illuminati. I mean, the whole fucking thing's Illuminati. I mean, just look at it, right? Especially the last half hour or hour of it.
And they do despise regular people. They do dislike.
The whole imagery, the sad part is, we know about Bohemian Grove, we know about Skull and Bones, we know about the Bilderbergs. We know at Bohemian Grove who goes. We know that all these leaders, Bill Clinton, all these guys, George Bush, whether it's fucking...
Dude, they have all the business executives.
They go, and they have no women, of course, and they have their fucking 2-week faggot fest. And they have their child that they burn to the fucking god Osiris, right? The evil fucking satanic god or whatever. What is all that about? That is crazy shit. Maybe because they have no morals, they are where they are.
I'm a believer there are no secret CEOs. There are no accidental CEOs. People are picked.
Or maybe they rise up. Maybe they rise up like the Zuckerberg guy from Facebook, and then they say, okay...
You think Zuckerberg, or was his fucking idea chosen?
Well, he's probably a Jew, too, right? But
was his idea chosen, or was his idea given to him?
No, I think there still is that dynamic element that happens, that people They like that though.
No,
they like that because
I don't believe it. I don't
But look
believe
at the guy
They sell it
Zuckerberg.
that way. They sell
look
it
at the
that
guy Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but they sell it-
basically stole an idea from somebody
exactly,
else.
and they sell it that way. Look how lucky you can be. You too can win the lottery if you come up with this great idea. And I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
That idea was given to him. He was presented with it. You're going to be the face guy for this, or maybe he came up with it and he had the right friends that said, "You know, we're going to take your idea. You're a good kid. Come on over, fuck."